think it's 126. I'm just going to go with it. Hello and welcome to episode 126 of the Nerds at Large Gaming Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Darby Hallman.
I'm Jeff Mayo.
And Jeff, batten down the hatches. We don't have time. The news is flooding in, Jeff. It's coming through the walls. It's coming through the floor. It's going into your brain. Watch out. Everyone.
Is that what's wrong with our pipes?
That's what's wrong with what's wrong with the pipes in our house is the video game news got in there, Jeff.
Oh, damn. Well,
clogged them right up.
Well, while we are not going to talk about games, I guess we can kind of kind of say what can coming up, because this week Kingdom Hearts Remind DLC comes out.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it comes out on Friday, so try to get to that at some point. Also, Tim, the indie Pokemon-like game is coming out tomorrow as of this recording. Or at least in early access, and I'm planning on getting that. So, yeah, impressions and all that.
Hype check for Tim?
You know, moderate. Like, it looks like it'd be fun. It looks like they're doing stuff different. It's obviously heavily influenced by Pokemon, but I think they're, based on what I've seen, they're taking it in kind of a different direction. So, help it stand out. And competition's good against Pokemon's bits has been along with this. I'm not saying it's going to get the Pokemon levels, but just something else to kind of compare to potentially. I doubt it, but Game Freak can potentially learn from.
Jeff, it's going to be the Fortnite Battle Royale to the PUBG for Pocket Monster games.
Man, I must say that Pokemon's runs a lot longer than PUBG's.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe just a little bit longer. Yeah. But no, that's cool. I saw the little anime opening. That's all I've seen. I have not seen any in-game Temtem's footage. Yeah. God, it's forever going to be a funny name. Well, yeah. Look forward to Jeff talking about that. Yeah, I kind of forgot about Kingdom Hearts. I mean, it makes sense. I knew it was coming soon. I just didn't know that soon. But there it is. So yeah, that'll be soon. But next week we will be doing our 2019 review. So potentially not next week hearing about all that. But maybe we can shove it in there a little bit. We'll see. But other announcements before we get into the news is that the complete first arc of Nerds and Dragons, which is our D&D podcast, is up, and it is all out from beginning to end, so you can now watch that. In that first arc, we were running the Sunless Citadel, which is a pre-written D&D campaign, but at the end, I changed the ending to kind of transition into the original campaign that I'm writing. We've already recorded the first session past that. You haven't heard it yet, but you can go catch up and get ready to hear my story, and hopefully it's good. Here's hope. We're having a lot of fun with it. And then also, our Pokemon Shield Nuzlocke is like 1, maybe 2 sessions away from being done. So catch up on that. It's a good time. Things are getting real. Real. All right. With all that out of the way, Jeff, the video game news beasts are closing in on us. We got to drive them back. I need a hearty news jingle to get these beasts out.
Jingle, jingle, jangle.
Oh. Let's begin.
Okay, Derry, we're going to start with what we always start with when it's in the news. Smash Bros.
You know us. We can't help ourselves.
Yep, and we got a whole Smash Bros. Presentation.
That we did, Jeffrey.
Nice 35 minutes. Everyone loved it.
No complaints.
No complaints.
Just everything is peachy and great. Fans happy, and we can move on, right?
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, moving on.
Oh, wait, Derry. I'm just getting word. A lot of people didn't like the presentation.
What did Bradford think? What did Bradford think?
He was okay with it.
He wished it was him, though.
Yeah. Pack 2, Darby.
Yeah, I mean, there's a decent chance. Probably not him, sadly. It should be him. But anyway, yeah, and I definitely, before we start talking, I kind of want to get the stuff out of the way that, I mean, like, as you'll, like, clearly see as we start talking about it, I am definitely disappointed with this announcement. If you missed the announcement, it's Byleth, I was about to say Final Fantasy, the Fire Emblem Three Houses protagonist. The male and female Byleth, like, it's another Fire Emblem character in there, and obviously, like, any disappointment from this is relative to the fact that, like, Smash is still the best fighting game of all time, and as far as representation, it has the best representation of any game of all time, and that will probably never be beat. And even within this Fighterz pack, it's absolutely fucking insane, the characters that we've gotten.
Yep.
Like, I feel like I have to get all of that out of the way. And like, everything is relative. This is only a disappointing announcement followed by Banjo fucking Kazooie, Hero, Terry, and Joker. I mean, like, any announcement is going to be kind of a bummer. Any like kind of Nintendo first party announcement is going to be a bummer. I do think this was a particularly bummer one, though, because even if, and I think you would agree with me on this, even if we're going to go Nintendo first party, and even if we're going to go with one of our big franchises, I think this could have been an opportunity to let some other underrepresented franchises shine in this game. Yeah. And I think going back into the well that we've gone to so many times with Fire Emblem, even though the character looks good, I think that's a bit of a bummer, you know?
Should have been Rex.
I agree. That's
no, just get this out of the way. You can go to my reactions on the thing and kind of just skip around to the main parts.
Yep.
While I wasn't like ecstatic, I'm definitely more positive on it than a lot of people. A lot of people freaked out and just immediately angry. But as far as the whole Rex thing, which is kind of weird with this, the reason Rex, according to Sakurai, didn't get in, it was a Mii costume to just go along with the first Fighterz Pass, was the game came out too late. So he didn't make the initial roster. It's like, okay, that is fair. But even then I was curious of, okay, well, why isn't he just DLC then? And then we got to the thing, it looks like it's starting to be third party. It's like, okay, that's why this is all a third party pass. That's fine. And then got to, this happened. Then it's like, then it's the first party character. It's like, okay. And then just not a first party character, a character from a game that just came out 6 months ago. Not even that. Yeah, about 6 months. And game was 6 months or 8 months out from when they announced the Fighterz Pass. Right. So that whole Rex being too late thing doesn't really fly when they go ahead and announce a character that wasn't even released when they decided on this pass.
Like, I'm starting to wonder if that was a weird translation thing, or if that's just something that they like made up an excuse and they kind of weren't really sticking with it. Because I was also even starting to think like this wouldn't make an excuse for like saying that and then kind of going against it. But like I was thinking, well, if Nintendo wanted to promote something of their own, like this is a bigger game than Xenoblade 2, but is it? Did this game actually sell more? Than Xenoblade? Okay, all right, but I mean, even still, like. He said that Rex was in the game, was going to be in the game if it wasn't for that, which is a little weird.
Pretty much. I still believe Rex is probably a front runner to be in Pass 2.
Yeah, especially if we have more Nintendo, which I do expect. I mean, the next Fighterz Pass is going to have 6. I expect like at least 2 Nintendo characters at the least. I would.
We can get a little later too. Just throw out some quick ideas of who that can be. So yeah, it was kind of weird. I talked to you about a theory potentially as far as Byleth and the whole thing being weird. I wonder if they're like the one where I said, I wonder if there was another third party character that was in this slot, but something fell through and then they put Byleth in this slot. Not to say they probably already working on Byleth, but he was probably going to be in Pass 2. As much as people hate the whole idea of a Fire Emblem character, especially, knowing that we were going to get 6 more characters, even then I would have no doubt in my mind Byleth would have made it into this.
I mean, but I'm still at the mindset, even if you had stopped me before this announcement and said, okay, there's going to be this announcement and 6 more fighters, do you think any of them should be a Fire Emblem character? I would have said no. Yeah, I would have said Fire Emblem has so much representation relative to its popularity and relative to other franchises in here. Even with 7 new characters, I could have listed 7 other characters before I would have dipped back into Fire Emblem, but I do think that's a potential. I do think that theory potentially holds water because it doesn't always work this way. Their announcements don't always scale, but it is a bit weird having those 4 announcements and then ending it with Byleth and then having and then get ready for Pass 2. You know, it was just such a like anticlimactic end to this whole thing, and then build up to the next
let's
one.
say even if Byleth was originally planned for this pass,
Yeah.
ending with Byleth makes sense from a release standpoint, because you think about when Terry was announced in September, Byleth's game only would have been out a little over a month.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense in the broader span of like, I can understand how you're not like jonesing to go get that second pass after Byleth as much as you would have been after any of the other 4. You know, like if Banjo was the last one, and then you were like, "Fuck yes, I'm buying that pass now." You know, Byleth is like, "Yeah, I'm probably gonna buy it," but yeah. And the other thing I definitely want to touch on a little bit, like part of I get it, like we all got trolled and it was great. I mean, it's great in the fact that it's funny on the internet or whatever, but and I get that like my reaction and the reaction of other people is exactly what like Sakurai probably wanted, and I get that, and he's earned it, but like the presentation of Byleth is definitely part of what made me more bummed than I would have been if it was just, all right, here's a new trailer, it's Byleth, cool, all right, move on. It was the like very obvious kind of like build up, like it was designed to have that reaction of people like, oh shit, it's a secret from Nintendo, oh shit, like, oh, we're gonna be surprised, like, oh wow, you know, it's like you're really gonna be surprised, and then it's Byleth. Like there's no way that build up was meant to be for Byleth without a joke, you know, attached to it. There was definitely some trolling there, which is fun, I guess, but it is also like, you know, intentionally making your fan base kind of mad, which I'm not saying any of this is like, you know, jokes on us, but it was weird to have all the Sakurai trolling with no catch. It was just trolling, you know.
Well, one of the catches, a part of the trolling with Byleth in the trailer being a sword fighter was, he's not just a sword fighter.
Yeah.
Stop calling him an anime sword fighter, you crazy people. But he doesn't even really have basic sword attacks.
But it's even more than just a sword fighter. It's just another fucking Fire
I know,
Emblem character.
but that
like, yeah.
people had it like, oh, just another generic anime swordsman.
Yeah.
It's a big part of it for some people. It's like, man, his sword is a whip. It doesn't even function as a sword.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I get that. I mean, it's still like from just a design perspective, like looking at them representation of like franchises, and even to a point, the play style. You could have gotten a lot different type of things with a different series, you know. Like I mean, like yes, he plays differently than all of them or whatever, but it's not as like crazy drastically different as, you know, some other ones are. Like he is still, he uses all the different weapons, but it is still like a somewhat similar vibe to the like moves going the other way to other Fire Emblem characters, as opposed to like Terry, you know, or Donkey Kong, or like any of these other ones. Like, yeah, like there is kind of a Fire Emblem vibe, even if there's a big variation within that vibe, you know. Yeah. So I leave this like, I'm not excited. I'm not really that excited to play Byleth. I mean, I am, just because it's like, and that's the other thing, people were like, but he looks so good, and I'm like, I legitimately think any character would have looked good in this game. I mean, like, he'll put Bubsy in this game and make Bubsy an awesome like fighter, independent of everything else. So that's almost like not even really that relevant to me, because like they don't make bad characters for this game. And like, yeah, of course I'm going to play Byleth, and it'll be fun. But like for every other fighter in this pass, I'm like, I'm downloading this day one. I have to get my hands on this. This I'll be like, whenever we play, I guess I'll try it out, you know, which is fine, because again, we had so many amazing ones before this, and I'm sure that in these next 6 fighters, there's going to be some more ones that we lose our minds at this table for.
I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. Smash fans, they're going to be disappointed. They set their expectations way too high with everything. They get into this tizzy about the smallest things.
They definitely do.
I think what added to this for some people is the whole thing with Dante. Everyone be like, oh, Dante's definitely going to be in this pass, or be this character. And then when it was not, I mean, even if it was some other third-party character, long as it wasn't one that jibed with those people, they'd be like, oh, this was terrible. A Fire Emblem character definitely added to it, for sure. But some people really set themselves into disappointments, also from a standpoint of people thought, oh, this is the last character, it has to be big. That has never been the case. Yeah. Anytime they've announced a series of characters.
The whole thing about like Smash and Smash speculation is it's really fun. It's really fun to like try to like look at the method to this madness, try to like look at patterns and speculate about this and that or whatever. And a lot of times it's a fool's errand because they'll just break every pattern you think is sacred. But that is a fun thing to do. I enjoy doing that, but you have to always do that with the mindset that like this is not something that Nintendo's actually said. This is something that like we are speculating and having fun with, but if it doesn't happen, you do have to be open to what's going on and everything. And that's why like I never put any like the Grinch leak or the or this leak. This wasn't even a leak, this was just speculation, like Devil May Cry guy tweeting things. With any of those, I'm not going to get like so wrapped up into this where I can't look at the announcement on its own and like be excited about it. Like Terry was not my first choice, but as soon as that came up, I'm like, okay, I'm in. Let's listen. I'm listening. Whatever. I do think there's a difference because Byleth, I had gone into this saying that Byleth is about the last choice I want, and then it was.
Well, actually, I'm going to counter that with a pick people would hate even more, Darby, and you cannot argue against it. A Fire Emblem mobile rep.
Oh, I mean, yeah, of course. But I mean, that's just like.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm going to play devil's advocate with the whole Byleth pick.
Yeah.
A little bit. With the whole, as far as like we're getting a first party rep, people try to attach like when they say first party, you want to get first party reps, get some of these older reps like Golden Sun and stuff. Want those kind of characters.
Yeah.
That mean nothing nowadays, and if you kind of look back,
I mean, first party. But I was gonna say, I mean, Terry doesn't.
No. Third party is a whole different beast. But as far as the first party stuff, people make the arguments of, well, if it's if they're doing first party, there's so and so and so and so, and some of them I think definitely makes sense. But some people bring up like Golden Sun and even kind of Gino and that kind of stuff, where a lot of things aren't relevant today in any way, shape, or form. At least the way King K. Rool and Ridley, their series are still alive.
I get that, but I mean, I also understand how people can not not follow that to the letter too, because Nintendo has also proven that they'll put Duck Hunt in this game. Yeah. They'll prove that they put Rob in this game. Like they've proven that their decisions are not always marketing decisions. Mm-hmm. Whereas like PlayStation All-Stars, it was pretty fucking obvious that Raiden was in that game because Metal Gear Rising was coming out, and then the new Dante was in there because that game was coming out. Smash does not always work that way. Mm-hmm. And like we thought leading into this past, when we knew that Nintendo was picking these characters, I think we all thought there was going to be a lot more of this, a lot more of like, we're going to pick this character because we want to sell these games. And then as soon as it came out, it's like Joker, Persona 5's not even on our system, but Joker, it's like, okay, fuck. And then like Dragon Quest, obviously that's a little more. Banjo, where can you go give Nintendo money for Banjo outside of Smash? You can't. And Terry is a very similar thing. Mm-hmm. So like I definitely get why there's the expectation of like, oh, they're not really going for marketing, they're kind of just going off of passion, which this is still passion too, because Sakurai is very passionate about this. But like I can get why how you could start to like maybe think, hey, maybe this slightly more obscure Gino or anyone else like that is a possibility. And they still are possibilities.
Yeah. What I was saying is, as far as, and partly why I think Fire Emblem keeps on getting more characters compared to other series, because people point out why not Zelda, and then why is Fire Emblem up there with Mario and Pokemon? Because of Fire Emblem, because it did have I've talked about this before. With you, can't remember if it's something I've said on the podcast, but Fire Emblem's got to as many reps as it has just by coincidence, just throughout its thing for the most part, up to the end of this point. But up to
this is not
no. But up to Corrin, it was kind of like, well, Marth and Roy. Marth to represent the series in general. Roy was an easy clone. Brawl, I replaced Roy because those are the current games. Blah blah blah. Smash 4, they added Lucina as an easy clone, and she was popular, and then Robin to do Awakening, which was the breakout hit for Fire Emblem. That got the 4 characters. They added Roy because he was a fan favorite for DLC. Then you get to Corrin, which is was definitely. I mean, they would say it so far was to advertise.
I mean, I think
Fates.
Corrin and Byleth are both advertising picks.
But what I'm saying is 6. The way they got the 6 before even Corrin, and because they had a Crom, which was an easy clone.
Yeah,
I think it's less that they're like Sakurai's love for Fire Emblem gets all these characters in this game. Where like, it just happened this way for the most part.
I think it helps, but
I think it helps, but
I mean, because like.
What I'm getting at, I'm fighting back against the really toxic and really angry people.
No, and I want to be clear. I'm disappointed, but I'm not like angry about this, and I'm not like I'm just like I'm expressing my disappointment. I'm kind of talking about like why this happened or whatever. But I'm not like it's Sakurai. Like Sakurai could come in here and shit on the table right now, and I would owe that man more. Like I like all of it is relative. But I mean, I do think stuff like that plays a factor. Like, I don't think Dark Pit would be in this game, even as an Echo fighter, if Sakurai didn't love Kid Icarus and wasn't like a part of Kid Icarus. Hell, Palutena probably wouldn't be in this game if it wasn't for Sakurai and stuff. And I think, that like also goes to Fire Emblem. I don't think necessarily all these characters would be in here without that, but I think a lot of them would. You know, it's that back and forth, but. I just so much would have rather like if this was Paper Mario or Rex or just, you know, like a bunch of other ones like that. I mean, hell, even freaking Springman or something.
Actually, I just thought honestly just thought about like Sakurai got us to this number. It's kind of Nintendo. Corrin was Nintendo. Byleth is apparently Nintendo.
It's not all Sakurai. Yeah. No, it's certainly not all Sakurai, but
he makes best what he has. And the very least, despite what people say otherwise, we actually got some unique movesets, despite the fact that every one of them has a sword.
They did the best that they could with, like, you know, if it's like we're gonna have Byleth, they definitely moveset wise and stuff did.
Between the last unique newcomers, Fire Emblem newcomers with Robin, Corrin, and Byleth, we finally got most of what makes Fire Emblem with the combat. Because with Robin, we got the magic and the durability system.
No archers.
Yes, we do, actually.
Who's an archer?
Byleth.
He has the bow in there. Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Corrin, we got the transformations.
Yeah.
And now Byleth, we get the whole weapon triangle finally. And the bows. Just
from a visual standpoint, another blue-haired person with a sword.
Hey, there's a green hair alt.
There's a green hair alt. Great. There's a green hair alt for like Lucina also.
Yeah. And as far as it being Byleth from Three Houses, it makes sense. It's the main character of the game. He's the constant for it all.
It's just boring.
Take that up with intelligence systems.
I mean, whatever. I mean, I don't care. I mean, I just think it's boring. It's just boring to have just the easy protagonist of all these games. I mean, this doesn't bother me as much as Corrin and Robin does because we've been through like what I think about Robin and Corrin is just. I look at those characters and they're nothing to me because my Robin and Corrin was not named Robin and Corrin and did not look like that, you know. And that's at least Byleth is Byleth. It's the character or whatever that bothers me slightly less, but also it just, you know, I don't know. It would be cooler to just get some of these other ones because also Byleth is just kind of a nothing character. Also, but I mean, again, Robin and Corrin is more of the picks that I'm as far as like within the game that I was kind of upset about it being them. More so than Byleth, but it is what it is. But going forward with the 6 fighters in the pack, it's cool. We're doubling the amount of DLC characters we already got, which is really cool. And I'm expecting, like I said, I'm expecting more first parties than we did last time. If you like gun to my head, I would say probably like a 3-3 split. But I also think like a 4-2 split in favor of third parties is also possible.
Yeah.
And I think you're gonna see. I think we are gonna. It's not. I don't think they're gonna make it like the first pack was all these crazy reps from places you never would have expected, and then now we're just gonna go all boring. You know, I think there's gonna be some cool ones in there. I would expect, but it's also if you didn't watch the direct. These 6 fighters are going to be spread out across the next 2 full years, pretty much. So it's going to be a lot more sporadic. You know, like this whole year, we were able to be like, all right, well, this one was announced here. We have to get this next one in this like few month span. Then we have to get the next one after that. this is going to be a lot more like, we're not going to be able to be on this podcast to be like, all right, well, what's it going to be next month?
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot more like, who knows when they announce these.
Yeah, I could see the first one not being announced till E3.
That's what I would expect. I would be a little surprised if it was any time before then.
If they continue the trend, it will at least include a Western-oriented rep. Because last year had Banjo.
Yeah.
Year before had Ridley.
Okay. I was about to say, is this trend one? Because I was
No.
thinking about Banjo. I was like, I don't know if that counts as a trend, but yeah, I get you. I get you now. Yeah. I wouldn't count on that trend. I mean, I think that's
Crash motherfucking Bandicoot.
I think that could be a coincidence.
I know. Well, as far as I'll say I think they did.
It could still happen, but like
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna. I don't think they're like, oh, we have to have our Western thing here. I think if it.
I do think for Ridley they purposely chose that for E3, and I think Banjo they decided to announce two partly to have Banjo in there.
I'm just saying
It just depends on what happens.
I would just say it would be like not at all shocking if it was a Japanese character, a Japanese ass Japanese character in this thing. Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, yeah. Mission. Byleth's out January 28th. That's like a week from now. Boom, boom, boom. We got some Mii costumes, which for some people made Byleth
I mean, literally any of these Mii costumes would have been. I would have been happier as the character. I mean, there's a sliding scale, Cuphead at the top, and then probably like Altair at the bottom. But I don't know. Altair. I mean, Assassin's Creed would have been a kind of crazy rep, but
yeah. Got Altair from Assassin's Creed, though they didn't use the words Assassin's Creed in the American Direct for some reason.
Yeah, they just put Altair like it was a series, like it was a game, like Altair the game.
Yeah, some people.
It was really weird.
Yeah, some people thought that may have to do with the rating or something.
Like just saying the word assassins.
It's as good a reason as any.
Really weird.
It's as good a reason as any.
Okay.
Take it up with the ratings board. Rabbids, the little funky hats. Mega Man X and Mega Man.exe came back from Smash 4. People noticed these things have been missing for a while and kind of figured they kind of.
Haven't they had like a Mega Man Mii costume with like every single Smash Direct ever? It feels like there's always like, and here's another Mega Man.
Maybe. I don't know.
There's a lot of Mega Man.
No. Let's agree. Yeah, and then Cuphead, which comes with a song, and like with Sans, it's the two. Like those are the two that look actually most like the character.
Yeah, they're not as much of a godless abomination as the Mii costume.
Which is why I saw some people like, oh, maybe they'll do that with Shantae. I'm like, no, that was like a godless abomination.
I don't know how you make that not look like an abomination. It's like just make Shantae an assist trophy. That would be cool.
They don't have assist trophies in this derby. We gotta hope for a fight.
Lame.
And let's face it, they're not doing an indie rap after they put like Cuphead, Sans, and
I think Shovel Knight was the bullet.
Yeah,
the bullet in the head of an indie rep.
Shovel Knight was the bullet. Sans is a double tap. Cuphead's a triple tap.
They're digging the grave with those last two,
and they keep on shooting it just to make sure as they. But yeah, the Fight Pass thing is exciting. Get more characters.
It is. It's weird. It's exciting, but it's weird. I can't emotionally let myself get too excited because that's too long of a time.
Yeah,
I have to just let these announcements happen. I can't sit around thinking about them like I did all this year. I can't do that. Now it's too much time to do that.
Some characters that people are looking forward to that have probably been deconfirmed. Resident Evil, dead.
Sad.
I'm going to assume with that spirit thing because by then they knew about what they were doing with this.
Yeah, that's
Astral
sad.
Chain, dead.
Yeah, I wouldn't have expected it anyway, but yeah.
And I do remember I made a joke to you when I saw this, like, hey, they haven't done a Fire Emblem event. But at least Sakura Essence have Best Girl Dorothy as a spirit. And
I just love how many it's our last day. I just love how many there are people I legitimately love Fire Emblem, but why? Even people who I love it, but this is just too much. Yeah, too much.
And also something that might be important to think about: Pokemon Sun and Moon or Sword and Shield had a spirit event.
I mean, but there's
There's
so many ways. That's a little
people have been
different.
saying
That's
that, but the counter argument to that is, and I agree with it, is the Pokemon they used, which I think were the three three starters in their little forms, Corviknight and the two legendaries, weren't going to be the picks.
Wait, what now? I'm sorry.
Like the spirits they used in the event, which I think were the starters. Like Maywulu was in there, Corviknight, and the legendaries weren't going to be the Pokemon they picked, no matter what.
Were the starters?
Not the final evolutions, but the little forms.
Yeah, so, I mean, yeah. No, and now at this point, this is another one that's like, we talked about like how much does like Sakurai's influence count versus other things or whatever. Because I mean, Byleth is an advertising move, but I think it was helped by Sakurai. If we don't get a Sword and Shield Pokemon now, then that Byleth is just going to look even weirder, because it's like you did the advertising pick for Fire Emblem, but not fucking Pokemon that sells like how many more millions of copies than Fire Emblem? Like that. I'm not even saying I want the Pokemon. I'm just saying that would make that pick look even stranger if it's like you did the advertising for that for not Pokemon. So I would like put big money on one of those six being a Pokemon. Yeah. Personally, I think it's very, very likely.
And I think there's a good chance, especially now we're getting their first parties and all that. And Pokemon, they just sell. Makes sense. And
I'd be shocked.
And at least compared to Fire Emblem, from a visual standpoint, it should look distinct.
How many months has it been since Fire Emblem?
About 6, I believe.
It's January, February, March, April, May, June, July. E3 Pokemon rep.
E3 Pokemon.
Lock it in, Jeff.
Lock it in. Well, as far as advertising picks, what a potential rumor and a character you brought up before you would have potentially preferred to Byleth, there's heavy rumors of a new Paper Mario game.
That'd be great.
Do an advertising character for that.
That'd be great.
Now, then it is a thing. It is also a thing. The two characters we just named are from franchises that have the two most characters.
They are, but that's all. I was even saying, like, even within the most represented, I mean, at least Paper Mario would be like kind of different and cool and like representing a different game, a game series.
What makes me also feel better about a potential Paper Mario pick is the way that Sakurai has been putting all this stuff into the DLC characters. And with these different mechanics, even Byleth,
find a cool way.
I feel better about them actually doing it right, making it different from Mario and doing some crazy paper stuff.
Yeah. All right, Jeffrey, we need to move on because again, the video game news demons, I see them right off camera. They're right there. I mean, aren't you terrified? Look at them. I feel like you're not, like, I don't know. You're a little more fearless than I am, but I think we need to feed the beast.
But they're Byleth fans, so they're okay with us talking about.
This is true, but I think 32 minutes is enough.
I guess it's just the end of it. I kind of didn't say it. The more we're farther away, the more I'm okay with the Byleth pick, just because I love Lee Houses, and it's just one of those simple things of I agree with the disappointment and all that, and probably should have had more Fire Emblem reps. But just seeing Lee Houses stuff gives me the warm fuzzies, which is what Smash is all about.
And that is great.
Yeah,
that is great.
Speaking of Fire Emblem. This comes from Chris Priestman from IGN. Nintendo revealed Fire Emblem Three Houses Wave 4 DLC contents and release date during its direct presentation on Thursday. Not in the US.
The hell?
Those who have purchased Fire Emblem Three Houses Expansion Pass will have access to the Wave 4 DLC on February 12th, 2020. The Wave 4 DLC contains the Centered Shadows side story. It takes place in a new location called Abyss, which are the underground tunnels beneath Garreg Mach, where the monastery's secret fourth house, the Ashen Wolves, hides. As the trailer reveals, you'll be able to fight alongside 4 students from Ashen Wolves as you progress through the story. They are Yuri, Happy, Constance, and Balthus. Beat the story, and you'll be able to bring the students into the main story as recruitable units. The Wave 4 DLC will also add new classes, quests, paralogs, and activities to Fire Emblem Three Houses, so you have plenty to keep you busy.
What you think about it, Joe?
I think it's neat. There's more details that are not in this article, which is also pretty neat. This is a standalone thing. You're not taking your house into this thing. I think you pick it from the main menu, and you go into it with a select. The developer selected your party. the characters you control, which are obviously Byleth, the 3 house leaders, and then 1 character from each house, which is I'm forgetting which one were they.
So does this take place like during the story?
Yes, it takes place before the time skip.
Yeah.
DLC characters. Yeah.
Just a secret house hiding under the monastery.
Yep. Oh yeah. It's one representative from each house: Linhardt from Black Eagles, Ash from the Blue Lions, and Hilda from Golden Deer. As well as you play as the 4 people from Ashen Wolves.
Nice.
So this is also just nice from a standpoint of I was worried about when this was first shown. Like, do I gotta start a new game for this?
Yeah.
It's like, nope. I can just pick in there. It's like, cool.
That's good.
Just it's its own little standalone thing.
Yeah.
And if I wanted to replay
weird.
another house thing, I can take advantage of all this DLC stuff in these characters.
They just like give you their versions of those characters? Are they just like leveled up and given classes or something?
It's early on, so they probably got their default classes, I imagine.
Nah.
I have no idea. Won't know until play it probably.
Like, yeah, are you starting this at like level 1 with all these or something?
Probably
or
not.
Like,
I don't know how far into the story it's supposed to be.
yeah. I mean, I'm you know what I mean? It's just like if I join this, is it going to be like, oh, Hilda's a completely different class now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can customize everyone in 3 houses. But now I'd be interested to see how they handle that.
Yep. Be very interesting. And it comes out soon. And because of all the delays, might have time to
February 12th. Yeah, just like 2 weeks away or 3 weeks away.
Yeah.
Like
All these DLC things and a little extra stuff.
Yeah.
Year of DLC.
Until it's the year of everything else.
So let's see everything else. I don't know why they just didn't make one of these new characters to Smash Rep. Come on, Sakurai. Do your advertising right. Also, I have a little... The way that the Byleth Smash trailer was done and the fact that they just paired it with this, I wonder if these two were supposed to be part of a direct. Because think about the Byleth trailer. It seems like the fake out was supposed to be... you thought it was a Fire Emblem Three Houses potentially DLC trailer. And then it turns out to be Smash.
No, because I mean it was Sakurai saying it.
No, the way the trailer starts. Take away Sakurai out of the picture.
I thought you were talking about the build up, like
No.
talking. Oh, okay.
Take away the pre-Sakurai stuff before it. Even the little Smash little sound effect.
Wait, is that how it worked for everyone else or something? Or wait, no, I mean
it depends on what they wanted to do for.
Yeah, so I mean it was after the Smash stuff that everyone else got this DLC thing that we didn't get.
Yes,
it was like
No, what I'm saying is the way the Byleth Smash trailer starts is him fighting old man dude, and there's no hint that it's Smash until Sophis is like join Smash.
Yeah.
So I think that was supposed to be part of something else potentially.
I could see it. I could also see that just being the Smash trailer. I mean, they had built up the whole like. I mean, they kind of did a similar thing with the Animal Crossing thing with Isabelle, and then it was like, oh, and the note, and the invitation. I could have seen it either way. But yeah. I mean, we're getting a direct sometime soon. I have to believe anyway. So
could get one announced tomorrow. Who knows? Probably not.
We're back on this train again. Back on the. We need time now.
I don't think we're gonna get one till February at this point.
So
they've had too many things.
Seeming like They're probably gonna give it some distance from the Fire Emblem.
Yep.
Or the Smash Direct.
Yep. Plus, again, it's one of those things. Just the patterns and stuff, but this has been a consistent pattern over the years. They don't have a regular direct.
Patterns mean nothing.
Hey, but when it happens over the course of years, I think we can see something.
Nothing, Jeff. Nothing, chaos. Okay. All right, everyone. I need you to put your hoods up and watch your pockets because we're going into a dangerous side of town, Jeff.
Yes.
Where are we strolling to as a class?
Darby, we are going to what they call Delay Alley.
Darby,
I don't know if you know this, but for games to release, the characters of the game have to walk to the release station. And
it's a dangerous path. Right?
Yes,
yeah.
But sometimes they go down an alleyway called Delay Alley,
right,
where crime and misfortune is rampant.
You hate to see it.
Yes, And that's usually how games get delayed. The characters go down that road and something happens to them. They either get attacked or robbed or something, or something just unfortunate happens to them.
And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, call this hotline. if you want to save video game characters for Delay Alley. We lose dozens of video games to delays every year, and you need to do your part to help.
Yep. So Darby, we got a list of games that delayed. I'm going to tell you their stories.
Thank you.
First one, we got Final Fantasy VII, supposed to come out early March. Cloud was just walking down that alleyway.
He was almost there, Jeff.
He was almost there.
He could see the station.
Then he tripped on a pebble and rolled his ankle pretty badly. So he's going to be in the hospital for a month.
You'd really hate to see it.
You really hate to see it.
I think he's going to be okay.
I think he's going to be okay.
I don't think it's that bad of a setback for him.
Yep. He'll be good by April 10th.
Yes.
Now, next thing, it was the Avengers. It was Captain America. Oh. He was strolling down there, and there were these hooligans there.
Mm-hmm.
And they just said cuss words.
Were they Joker fans?
They were Joker fans.
I knew it.
They're saying cuss words left and right. It traumatized Cap so much that he will not be good till September 4th.
He'll never be the same.
And the Avengers can't assemble without him saying the words Avengers assemble.
They have to wait for him. And right now he's sitting on America's ass just in a hospital somewhere in Delay Alley. It's just, he's going to be there for a while, folks.
Yeah. And Cyberpunk 2077 is...
Keanu Reeves is such a nice guy. He's waiting with Captain America.
Yeah.
He's not leaving without his friend.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
so I think he's going to be there
until
September.
But Keanu likes to keep it cool, so he's going to have to be 2 weeks after Avengers on September 17th.
He's got a little Cap.
Yes. He's got to make sure his friend is okay. Yeah. Then Iron Man VR. Iron Man is saying, screw you, Cap. I'll wait 2 months later for my game,
but
then I'm doing my own, and I guess I'll join you when you're ready.
Yeah, I'm not sitting here this whole time.
Yeah, Iron Man VR, May 15th. Then Dying Light 2, the newest one.
No one knows what happened.
No.
No one was paying attention.
Sorry, I got the report just now.
Oh, okay.
The main character, whoever he or she is, I think it might be a female character. I think I might not being a thing.
Obviously paying a lot of attention to Dying Light 2.
Walking down the alleyway, a frying pan fell from the sky and just bonked their head. They're in a coma until who knows when.
Yeah, inconclusive. We don't know.
Inconclusive.
The doctors can't say either way.
And everyone, this has been the story of Delay Alley.
Do your part.
Okay.
What you think about all the casualties of Delay Alley?
Okay, so we'll just go one by one. And part of the reason, other than for the bit, I just went ahead and named them out because the conversation for one will probably lead into the other one. Yes.
And can I just say, good bit.
Thank you.
Final Fantasy 7 a month. Not that bad.
No, it's just going to be for a little polishing. I think that's fine. And we were worried about it because Cyberpunk was supposed to be a week after that, but it got delayed.
Yeah, it's wild that delay was like, the whole narrative was, oh, this is really bad for Final Fantasy 7, and that lasted like 2 days, and then Cyberpunk's gone.
Maybe even that. I don't know. They all happened within a couple. All these delays that were Dying Light all happened like a 2 to 3 day period.
I felt like I read the same press release like 4 times of
we were numb to it by then. But I do have these in order. So I started out with Final Fantasy 7. We're like, oh no.
Yeah, I texted you. I was like, fuck. Because obviously I am counting down the days, and unfortunately those days went up. But
now there's not really much around it. You actually have more time before another game comes out.
Yeah.
Or roughly the same, actually. But whatever. Who cares?
Is Last of Us the next closest thing of all these?
Yes. The next thing after that we're interested in, I believe, is Last of Us.
That's like a full month after, right?
It's like a month and a half plus, a month and 3 weeks. So.
I'll have both of my playthroughs of Final Fantasy 7.
Exactly. No, but I think this is definitely fine. Nothing to worry about. Just they want this game to come out right, which is only good.
Yeah, I would. Obviously, we've waited so long. I'd rather wait a little bit longer to have a polished.
And bright side is we can play Ori without worries.
Yes, and that is the good thing, is that I thought Ori was going to be left, unfortunately, which is tragic. But Yeah, I mean, people have definitely been like making fun of Final Fantasy VII Remake too much for this, being like, oh, of course it gets delayed. It's vaporware. It's never coming out. It's like this is very common, and it's a fucking month. It's in comparison to some of these other games.
You're saying it's coming.
It's nothing.
Yeah, Avengers being delayed 4 months.
That's a much more significant delay.
But that's not surprising at all. The Avengers stuff we've seen. It's been a little rough.
Yeah.
I'd say they definitely needed more time.
Yeah, unfortunately for me personally, looking at that, I don't think it's something that a 4-month delay is going to like fix that game. I think I don't know. The combat just looks very bad.
Even from a timing perspective, we already know it's not good because it only comes out 2 weeks before Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
which I'm sure Square Enix, when they saw that, was like, "Fuck, yeep." So yeah,
yeah, that delay got real bad, real fast as well.
But Cyberpunk getting delayed. It's one of those things. It was delayed 5 months.
Yeah. Is it weird that like I think there's a reason behind this, but is it kind of weird that Cyberpunk actually got delayed more than Avengers, but we're more worried about Avengers than we are Cyberpunk?
No. I was thinking the same thing. I think other people are the same thing. I think that's fair because Cyberpunk has just looked better than Avengers for what it was trying to do, and Cyberpunk is a more ambitious game.
Yeah, the type of game that it is, like RPGs like this, it's very hard to actually predict how much time you're going to need for them because there are just so many moving parts. And I mean, it happened with The Witcher. It happens with so many RPGs. This happens a lot. I mean, the problem is there's marketers who like push game developers to give them a date because they want to market the game and put it out there, whatever. And they want that date to be as soon as possible because they want money, they want to sell it and everything. But a lot of times it's just not realistic, and this is obviously part of one of those. Like, I can get why figuring out a year in advance when you're going to be done with Cyberpunk is kind of a shot in the dark. It's like, I don't know, I guess then. And then you get closer to it and you realize not. Avengers is a little different. And also, I think we all kind of collectively think that Avengers is getting delayed to actually change and fix things. Whereas Cyberpunk, it kind of just feels like more, we're going to fine tune this and
polish it up.
Like, it's content complete, which they already said, and we're polishing it. Avengers, and maybe we just feel that way because Avengers has just not shown well. Like, these two games have shown very differently from each other.
Yeah. I agree. Also, along with the Cyberpunk stuff, I guess I can just potentially read the quote. Well, pretty much they just said that there is still going to be crunch. People were kind of celebrating the way it's less crunch. Unfortunately, that's not the case.
Yeah.
Like in most every circumstance.
Yeah, and I've seen
Cyberpunk's just the one that kind of the outright devs are the ones that just outright said it.
And I've seen James Schreier obviously knows a ton, and other people who know things like him that have said, like, yeah, maybe don't be as quick to just immediately say, like, oh yeah, they're delaying. They're a good studio that doesn't destroy its employees. And he's like, that's kind of a lazy thing to say because a lot of times that is not true. A lot of times it just prolongs what's already happening, especially when you have games like this that, like, I mean, realistically probably should take even longer than September to make. And Anthem was another one, Anthem was definitely one of those where it's like EA is like, we need this now.
Yeah. So also another kind of interesting thing is, in a way, as far as the financials for their respective publishers, Final Fantasy might have hurt their Square worse than all these other delays by being shorter because it got delayed into the next fiscal year. These other ones are at least staying.
Scrap the whole thing.
The other ones are at least staying in the fiscal year, which means something to
It's shitty how much that actually matters.
Oh yeah, I agree, but yeah, that's the way it is. And also in Cyberpunk news, the multiplayer likely won't be playable until after 2021, so 2 years from now.
Can I make a confession?
You didn't know this was happening. And you don't care.
Didn't know there was multiplayer in this game.
Yeah.
Have they said what the multiplayer is? Is it like a co-op thing or something, or is it just some multiplayer mode?
I think it's just like a multiplayer mode.
Yeah, co-op wouldn't really make sense. Or it would be very hard to do.
Yeah. I don't particularly care, but
Yeah,
one of those things is like, it's weird it's coming out so much later, but it is what it is, I guess.
It's practically another game. At that point, it's like practically a spin-off game. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I guess if you just get it for free there, great. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Iron Man VR May 15th. I'm fine with that.
When was it coming out originally?
February 20-something. Well, maybe the last day of February. Yeah. I mean, honestly, since everything kind of vacated the first part of the year that we really want to play for the most part.
Yeah. It's kinda weird.
The original date or this new date, as far as me playing it, doesn't really make that much of a difference, honestly.
I guess now it's like it's in between. I mean, it's like right before Last of Us, but both of us should be well done with Final Fantasy VII by then. So,
yeah.
You know, as long as you play this when it comes out, you know, before Last of Us, you get to it. But
yep. So
if it's good,
I mean, I'm waiting for reviews for it. Then Dying Light. It happened when I read this news, and it happened when we did our 2020 game talk.
Yeah,
I forgot this was coming out in the spring, or supposed to.
A lot of people
did. I think it was very telling that we forgot about it because they haven't been marketing it for a while, and there's a reason for that. Daria, I don't think this is coming out till next gen.
Which is, I mean, but this is why I was a little surprised about the Final Fantasy VII delay because they've been marketing that to hell. You know, that's why I was a little surprised. But it was only a month. But yeah, this one we have not seen at all. So
yeah, I think it'd be one thing if Final Fantasy would had like a Cyberpunk / Avengers type delay.
Then that would have been like, what? You were showing so many trailers.
Yeah, you're going ham with this, but yeah, a month is whatever.
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, Dying Light 2, who freaking knows? I mean, that's. I think obviously whatever the release window, or did it have an official date? I don't even remember.
It had a release window of spring.
Obviously, that was a little ambitious.
Yeah. So, Darby, looking at all this, we've all been banging the drum of, man, March, April, whatever, it's so crazy. Most of those big games are now out of that area. Like March only has Ori at this point.
Yep, it's like the real party doesn't start until April now.
Yep.
And then even after that, we have a pretty sizable gap to May with Last of Us.
Well, good news is, Darby, again, not just for us, but in general, Ori's now kind of by itself for the most part.
Yeah, that is
well, Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing are right around there, but kind of all three of those are different things from part of each other.
Yeah.
But I do like the memes of everything running away from Animal Crossing.
It is pretty funny. It is pretty funny. Like Isabel just chasing everybody out. You don't want none. You don't want none, Cloud.
Or
Keanu.
There's that whole meme of the Grim Reaper knocking at doors and killing people. Like, yo, and it's Tom Nook knocking at each game.
But I am a little bummed that like I was looking forward to having like all year to get really far in Cyberpunk, but now Cyberpunk's going to be knocking up against whatever comes out in the fall. Like if
Ghost of Tsushima is going to be around there,
Ghost of Tsushima, potentially Horizon 2, and potentially Breath of the Wild 2. Now, like I'm going to be like, man, I'm still in Act 2 of Cyberpunk. Fuck.
Yeah, if all those come out, and those are just the ones that we're naming off the top of our heads, as far as like big open world games. Yeah.
How fucking funny would it be if Horizon and Breath of the Wild 2 released at the same time again?
I'd love it.
Happen again. When they release the same week.
I legitimately think it's possible.
And also new consoles. It's all history's repeating itself.
It's just reversed. And what's the new console? Yeah. So, Dar, how do you feel generally about all these delays in your schedule? Does it?
I think, I mean, it's good and bad. Like you said, it frees up some things like Ori, but it makes other things less convenient. I mean, I think it makes the important thing is Final Fantasy VII. I get to just play that, and like I got nothing else for the rest of April. Let's go. I'm just taking a knee. I'm taking a knee in Midgar.
You got April and May for that game.
Hell yeah, dude. You better believe I'm playing that twice.
Darby, selfishly, I wish that wasn't the case. I wish, because we talked about how crazy this year is. We did those crazy lists, and most of those games aren't coming out till like the second half of the year.
Yeah.
And then the Nintendo games we don't know about.
Yeah. Cyberpunk in September is a real bummer because I was really looking forward to having pretty much the whole summer to play that. That was going to be nice. But
I think non-crazy prediction. There are going to be some games that move out of 2020 because of Cyberpunk.
Out of 2020 in general?
Potentially. Well, because okay, I made it sound a little more like whatever.
Yeah.
Some that might haven't been announced yet that were internally being planned for September are now like, okay, let's get to the 2020 because they don't want to push back when consoles are launching.
Yeah. I think maybe the combo. I think
Cyberpunk is the catalyst, and then the console launch.
I also don't think like we kept talking about like before like last year's like, oh, everybody better run from Red Dead Redemption. I don't think that actually really happened. Like a lot of games came out around. I mean, some did run for sure, and I do think, but I think it's the combo of the consoles. I mean, because if you're releasing a game around this time, you do have to be very careful when you do it, because if you release it like right at launch, it could be
and this is also a thing of just right now. We're in January. We already know Avengers Cyberpunk in September. There's going to be more announced. Yeah. Ghost of Tsushima is supposed to be around then.
There's probably going to be there's definitely going to be a Call of Duty in October, and there's probably going to be an Assassin's Creed in like October or November. Not that we care about that, but that Assassin's Creed Ragnarok is
November is probably. It's probably gonna be November for Assassin's Creed. That's probably when the consoles are gonna launch.
Yeah,
I'm gonna assume that's next gen, unless it's cross gen and the next gen comes out later.
I can almost promise you cross gen is what I'm gonna say. Yeah. Which cross gen in concept is weird now anyway because it's backwards compatible, but So I mean, I don't know how's that work because they're gonna want to have the nice PS5 on the box.
Yeah.
But, like, if you buy the PS5 version, does it just lock you out of the PS4? Whereas if you bought the PS4 version, you can do both?
Yes, that's generally how it works, yes.
So why the hell would you buy the PS5 version if it's the same game? Like, if I put that same PS4 disc in my PS5, it becomes the PS5 version, right? I mean, that's how I should... like, graphics-wise, it's like... it's.
I don't know.
The PS5.
Dari, what you just said as far as graphics-wise, that might just be dependent on the game.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? They're going to want the 5 on the box, but it kind of like... It would be like... If it does work that way, then buying the 5 is the inferior... is dumb, because then it locks you out of anything else. I mean, not that you'd want to go back and play it on your PS4 if you have a PS5, but you know what I mean. Yeah. That would get really weird. There's PS4 and PS5 versions. This one's basically the same thing as this, but you can do both. This one is... Yeah.
There are some tech-savvy people that are screaming at you.
Probably. But we haven't really had a launch like this in a long time with real backwards compatibility. Yeah. So we haven't really had to worry about this. It's been, here's the PS4 games, these are the PS3 games.
No, I don't disagree.
Like, we haven't really had this in a long time.
Yeah. And it's one of those things when we did have kind of backwards compatibility, like let's say the last time would have been like...
PS2.
PS3 maybe.
Those first one. Yeah, I think those first models.
Back then, there was nothing really could do more to make games look better on those consoles because no patching or anything like that. So it was just kind of, this is just the game.
Yeah.
So...
But yeah, like now, like I have to believe if you buy Assassin's Creed Ragnarok for your PS4 and you put that PS4 disc on your PS5, you have Assassin's Creed Ragnarok for PS5. Whereas I don't think it would work the other way around. If you had the PS5 disc and you put it in your PS4 is going to be like, what the fuck's this?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so don't buy the PS5 versions. You don't know. Maybe your PS5 will like get struck by lightning or stolen by the video game release beasts. And then you're going to feel like a big dum-dum because you bought the PS5 version, not the PS4 version. Don't be about dum.
Exactly. The Cyberpunk new release, I know it's going to bite me in the ass.
Yeah.
Just with everything else.
Yeah. But you know what? It's not going to bite you in the ass. A robot dinosaur. It might bite you in the ass. I don't know.
I would assume so.
You should.
Well, actually, no, it wouldn't. It would just bite my whole body and
I don't think they like target the ass, but I mean, I suppose the models could, end up. I don't know.
Okay, let's get into it. This comes from Jason Schreier from Kotaku. The PlayStation 4 exclusive Horizon Zero Dawn will come to personal computers this year, sources tell Kotaku. It's an unprecedented move for Sony that signals a future in which the publisher releases games on platforms beyond its own consoles. This news comes from 3 people familiar with Sony's plans, all speaking anonymously because they were not authorized to talk to press. Sony did not immediately respond to a request for comment.
Can we all sign a pact to call them personal computers at all times now?
No, I'm lazy. This is America.
This is fucking huge.
No, this is huge.
This is huge. obviously Xbox has been doing this the whole time, but this is kind of another one of those that I think Sony is kind of being forced into a progressive era of like being a big video game company, and God, I hope this continues.
Yeah, I agree. I wonder, what kind of spawns this other than the whole this is what like Microsoft's doing it kind of thing, but I don't think that's the reason they would do it. But is the like Detroit Become Human stuff already on PC? I know that was announced.
Is what now? I'm sorry.
Detroit and those games.
Yes, but they don't own those, right? It doesn't, or maybe they own the IP, but they at least don't own the studio, obviously.
Yeah,
but
I think they own the IP.
They might, I think they do.
So
I think they do own the IP. I think you're right.
So just maybe they saw how those did and be like, okay, those are one of our smaller IPs. What if we put a big one on PC?
I mean, but even that
it prints money.
I mean, even that right there, I think they've always known that they could put Uncharted, God of War, any of these, and they're going to sell on PC. I think that's never been the question. But like before, it was always, we have to keep these exclusives because that's why people buy our consoles. And like, we're not going to put these on PCs because we don't want someone to be like, all right, well, I'm not going to buy a PS5. I'm just going to buy a PC.
Plus, you anger the fanboys.
Huh?
Plus, you anger the.
I don't. But that like we're not going to talk about it. But like the people who are like mad at like Sony for putting things on PC or whatever because they tie some self-worth to the PC is simultaneously the funniest and saddest thing I've ever seen in video games.
I can't tell it's parody half the time when I see
can't
that
either. A lot, unfortunate amount of time it's not. But that's never been the thing. The thing, like I said, it's been we have to have like and it worked because that is what sold. That is why we got PS4s over Xbox Ones. I mean, there was the whole kerfuffle, but it was also PS4 is going to have any future Sly Cooper game or God of War or Uncharted or Last of Us.
Well, to be honest, to me, a big part of that was
in Japanese games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sony gets the Japanese games, which I love. Obviously, this is a big deal because. If this is true, and I think at this point, us and many other podcasts report things that Jason says as true, because the very few times they aren't. Very few times I can't think of any. Yeah. This happens. There are a couple different ways this can go as far because Horizon being the first game. Yeah. They always go out with they're putting a big IP on there. It's like okay, what other ones will be on there? And then also the fact is Horizon is. Let's say a 3-year-old game at this point because it's about to be 3 years old next month. Is it just going to be older, games that have been out a couple of years? Yeah. Is there going to be delay in all the games between releases? If so, how big? Is it a case by case basis?
I feel like that might be the compromise. Is to not go the full Xbox route of day and date games. Like they still want you to buy their consoles, so it might be like. The next game we get is Uncharted 4. Like they're just gonna start like bringing a lot of their category, and then a little bit after that, like God of War, and then
is it weird that the fact that this is Horizon makes me think the likelihood of Horizon 2 this year is more likely.
I mean, it could be like it's just what like it comes down to what is this? Is this a complete culture change where like they are open, they're kind of taking the Microsoft route of a little bit of we don't care where you give us money, we don't care where you buy our games, we just want you to buy our games, which is obviously what Xbox has done. Like Xbox is doing very little to get me and you to buy their box. And I think neither of us really plan to because we can just play all the games on PC. And Xbox,
we will keep on paying for Game Pass.
Yes, and Game Pass. And Xbox seems content with that for us to like give them money through subscriptions and buying their games and not buying their box. I mean, if they're not content with that, then they're doing a bad job. It seems like that's the way they're going. And is this a step, Sony taking a similar step of like, we don't care where you buy Horizon, we want you to do it? Or is this just like testing the waters? Is this just like a test bed? It was like, we're going to see how this goes. And if it doesn't do something of what they want, then it ends here.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because this is unprecedented. I mean, Sony does not do this. I mean, I guess they did that with Detroit, but like, I mean, they own the IP, so I guess it's the same thing, but this feels a little different because they own the studio, the IP, and it's one of their biggest IPs right now, like with a big sequel coming out.
Yep. Yeah.
Whereas like Detroit and Heavy Rain are dead games, basically. I mean, for the future. I'm not expecting continuations.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think it definitely tests water things. Like if these sell bad, they probably would stop. But I don't think they would, so they would just probably keep on going. I do think there's going to be a delayed thing, kind of like you were saying, because then if you want these games day one, you need to get the console. Yeah. And part of the reason why Horizon might be a first one is because Horizon 2 is going to come out. So people play that and like it and be like, I need to play the sequel. Oh, shit. If I don't want to wait a couple of years, I need the PS5. Yeah. And then even if, most people don't want to do that, they'll still buy Horizon 2 down the line on PC.
Yeah, and I mean, that's at some point it needs to become clear because, obviously right now it's not clear at all. We don't know what the future holds. We don't know are they going to start doing day and date or is it going to be this delay? But there needs to be some sort of assumption that, if you're a PC player, that I'm going to get God of War 2 a year late, or I'm going to get this a year late. You need to have some sort of consistency.
What I expect to happen is, at first, they're just going to release, some of their old games on there. A lot of those, maybe in bunches, maybe just kind of spread out. It may not be like, let's say they announced this at the PlayStation meeting or something. Horizon is imminent after that or whatever.
Yeah,
I expect it might be a year or two before we get a consistent, an idea of how they consistently put games on PC, if there even is consistency for it at that point.
And that's the problem is, I don't expect them to come out and say this is how we're going to handle PC releases.
Yeah, because I don't think they want to. I don't think they want to do that while the PS5 release is looming, because they want to see how all this, the PS5 and putting these games on PC all kind of roll together.
Which, I mean, in the lead up to the PS5, that kind of does make this even more interesting because right before their next console launch, they're introducing the idea of playing their games on PC. That is somewhat bold.
Yeah,
as far as that, because I mean, some PC players might see this and be like, "Ooh, maybe I don't buy that."
Yeah.
Maybe I don't
100%. But I feel like this is the thing. I think some people, and even we're guilty of this. The amount of people that would not get a console in general. Obviously, picking between PlayStation and Xbox is one thing. People who won't decide suddenly not to get a PlayStation in favor of just getting the PC. It's smaller than people might think. Just in our circles, that stuff's a lot louder.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, I'll still be getting play because it's not just Sony first-party games that I want to play my PS5 for. It's Personas and other games like that.
And the more of those games are coming to PC, but it's not.
It's still not enough to eliminate.
Yeah, it's
consoles.
not a consistent enough thing to where those are coming to PC in a timely manner. Yeah. So it's
and also, I love consoles for local multiplayer and stuff.
Yeah.
There's stuff like that. There's just a lot more of a pain in the ass on PC. But, no, other things. But this is huge. It's very interesting. I mean, it's cool. It's weird to see this. It was kind of a weird over the course of many months. You can kind of see this narrative starting to go with the Detroit and Heavy Rain, and then the MLB The Show thing.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then now this. You can kind of see this progressing. So
I am curious. Assuming it's all true, which I assume it is. When they will announce it, will they do it at the PS5 reveal event? You think it's kind of made to generate a little more buzz? But I'm only saying the only reason I would say that's a potential possibility is because this is an old game.
It is, but I don't know if they'll at the event when they're talking about their new hardware at that same event say, "Hey, go play our games on PCs." I mean, maybe they will. I don't know. But
the way I can see it is, again, Horizon 2 coming out this year. Roll that into that announcement. Oh, by the way, the prequel to this game, PC.
Yeah. And obviously, from a player standpoint, I just want to see Horizon and God of War and Uncharted looking the best they can, because it is kind of, I can definitely see, especially people who have high-end PCs and are super into graphics, which we are not really that, but there are people that are. It's kind of a bummer that some of the most ambitious and impressive games of the last few years are all Sony games, and none of them can be truly enhanced with a PC. I'm sure a lot of people look at God of War and it's imagine how amazing that would look on a top end PC, and so for players that is really
plus
cool.
Darby. We're forgetting the most important thing. You can mod Kratos into Winnie the Pooh.
This is true. This is very true.
No, I'm sure for
and Thomas the Tank Engine as Robot Dinosaur.
Yes, of course. Yeah. No, I'm sure for a big reason why people would be excited for this is modding, obviously.
Yeah. Just makes everything
mod
better.
these games. Yeah. Darby, would you buy Sly Cooper again if mods were a possibility?
Oh yeah, dude. Let's freaking crack this game wide open. Let's fucking go, dude.
Yeah, baby.
I think Sly already had like one of those like old game cheat discs you can put in there. I think you could like fuck it up.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of. I used to do that with so many games. There's Game Sharks, especially Simpsons Hit and Run. Boy, is that game held together by thread. You could like. Like every game you put in there, it's like, oh, it has like 5 cheats. It's like, no, this one has like 15 cheats. Okay, Simpsons Hit and Run. It has 400 cheats. What the fuck?
Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's get sad. Let's get bummed out. Well, I should not say that. Well, usually when I say let's get sad, we're talking about like people losing their jobs or being tortured at work.
Let's rant.
Let's rant. There you go. That's a better term, Jeff.
Darby, this is by far the smallest, most insignificant news on this podcast.
But we're the most angry about it. At least you are, and I understand your anger.
Yeah, obviously I played this stuff up, but still, let's get Darby. We're getting more Dragon Ball Fighterz DLC.
Mm-hmm.
A new character was revealed. Do you know who the fuck it is?
More disappointing than Byleth.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, there's more anger towards Byleth, but I feel like there's a lot more disappointment with the Goku.
Yeah. Direct it this way.
Yeah.
I'm sure anyone watching at home could take a wild guess that it's another fucking Goku.
It is Ultra Instinct Goku. He is going to be a playable character. No word if this is just a standalone fighter or is this going to be part of another fighter pack.
What's our Goku count?
It's like 5 or 6. Like just they are Goku.
And then there's
Goku and Goku Black and
that's not Kelly Goku Black.
No. And then there's Goku's father and then the fusions and
like Dragon Ball has a pretty wide cast of characters, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's not like you should be happy to dig around for just the Gokus. It's just unfortunately that's what sells. But why has that been true for so long? Why aren't people tired of this?
I mean, I get it in like Xenoverse and stuff because that thing has like 200 characters anyway, and fuck it, it's like the game's, whatever.
You're gonna get around to all those other characters. Fighterz is a lot more of a focused down thing with a limited cast.
Yep.
So it's just so boring.
Yep. And yeah, like you said, there are plenty of characters they could do to. I mean, if they can make 5+ movesets for Goku, they can come with movesets for some, like a lot of these people. Like, put in Hercule, or Mr. Satan, as a lot of people call him. Put it in there, have him as a joke character, at the very least. Having Kefla from the Tournament of Power. There are actually a bunch of Tournament of Power characters that the final arc of Super where they can easily make playable characters for. They already, this is what Ultra Instinct Goku's from. Only from that arc, and Jiren, another playable character that's in the game, is from. So here's my hope for this. Potentially, as far as other characters in this game. I'm not going to defend them adding another Goku. I know it sells, but yeah.
You think they're bummed about this 2-hit arc system works? They're like, fuck, it's the only thing that sells. We gotta try to keep this game relevant. I don't know.
Yeah. People have, I think after the last character was added, Broly, or somewhere around there, they were able to look in
second Broly, right?
That I'm okay with.
I know, I've talked about it.
Yeah. They have found a Tournament of Power stage in the game, and people were able to kind of bring it out and kind of use it on PC and stuff. Good. So there's a stage in there they're probably going to announce along with this, as well as a new dramatic finish with Goku, Frieza, and Android 17 beating up on Jiren. That's just the finale of the Tournament of Power, which is epic as hell. So that would be really cool to see in that. So my hope is maybe with this, and this will make me feel better about it, they have a Tournament of Power pack where it's Goku and let's say 4 other Tournament of Power characters.
Yeah.
That's
or 4 other Gokus.
Fuck, man. It's a possibility.
Are there 4 other Gokus that they could put in this thing?
They really tried. They could. Probably. But I'm curious to see. I'm very interested in like to take away the Goku thing in a vacuum, how Ultra Instinct Goku is going to look and play. Because Ultra Instinct Goku stuff is some of the most badass stuff in the series as far as what he does and all that. So standalone thing, I'm okay with that. Least, and I'd feel a lot better about this. Let's say we only got like regular Goku, Kid Goku, and this one. I'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
Throw my hands up. Okay, I'm fine with this.
I mean, he is the main character. Everyone loves him. And you get it. I mean, and he's had a bunch of versions that could have different movesets.
Well, this one's even more so because his whole demeanor and the way he fights changes drastically, which is doesn't really happen as much with the other ones. Which is why in a vacuum, I'm more okay with this than the other ones. We didn't need base Goku.
That's right. Base Goku seems so weird.
Yeah. So, yeah. I'm...
Bummer.
Yeah. We need to play more of this game. I'm hoping there are more characters with this because you've heard me say this thing about Kefla, which is a character from the Tournament of Power. It's been highly, highly requested. She makes perfect sense for this game. She have a cool moveset. They need to put in this game, especially.
And you said she. Wow.
Exactly. That's another female rep, and also a female rep that doesn't have a guy as a companion to fill out a moveset. Which
she don't need no man.
She don't need no man. She's just two women put together. She's a fusion.
Wow, 2 in 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
So. You think they'll after that they'll tout? We have 4 female characters.
Well, that would be the 4th. Android 21, Videl, Android 18.
Okay, I didn't know about Videl. We have 5 female characters.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Derek, want to talk about some NPDs?
I do want some NPDs.
Darby, this is the end of the year. So we got more.
We got a big boy NPD?
Darby, not just that. Yeah, Darby, scroll up so you can be surprised. Darby, it's not just the end of the year.
Oh, look at me.
It's the end of the decade. So we got top selling games of the decade.
Unfortunately, I have seen this and it's depressing.
Yeah. We'll get to that last.
Yeah.
Let's get to the top 20 games of the month of December.
Let's do it.
Number 1, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. Okay. That's right. Number 2, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Also not surprising just because it was a competent Star Wars game.
Yes.
It didn't need to be more incompetent. And it honestly didn't even need to be competent and it would have sold. But
yeah. Number 3, Madden. 4, NBA 2K20. Number 5, Luigi's Mansion 3, baby. No digital sales. Let's go.
There's our boy.
Representing.
Representing.
Number 6, Pokemon Sword. No digital. 7, Mario Kart 8. No digital. Number 8, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. No digital. Number 9, Pokemon Shield. No digital. Man. Where my Shield boys?
I know. Shield. Let's go.
Minecraft. I forget what it's doesn't include. Number 11, Grand Theft Auto 5. Number 12, Red Dead Redemption 2. 13, FIFA 2020. That seems low for FIFA. 14, Just Dance 2020. 15, Need for Speed Heat. 16, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. No digital. 17, Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. No digital. 18, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. No digital. 19, Super Mario Party. No digital. 20, Ring Fit Adventure.
Ring Fit Adventure.
Lots of Nintendo games. Darby, I told you this beforehand. Yes. I spoiled this for you, but it's a very, very notable omission. In its second month of release, Death Stranding's not in the top 20.
Not there. That's a oof.
That is a big oof. That has got to be a disappointment to Sony. Because its sales, I think, were good to start out with, but it immediately came clear from Benji Sales, for example, on Twitter. He's a good follower. He talks a lot about sales stuff.
Yeah.
Said that there was a big fall off immediately for this game.
And I mean, the thing is, in a vacuum looking at this game, it should not be at all surprising that it was not a mega blockbuster hit because we talked about Red Dead Redemption 2 being a kind of out there game that it's is this really going to appeal to the mainstream audiences just because it was a very controversial and very different type of game? This is that on fucking steroids. I mean, this is the least mainstream audience game I can think of that got this sort of treatment. And I mean, but I mean, I'm not trying to stand on the pedestal saying that I expected this because I didn't. I thought, despite all of those things, I thought because it was Hideo Kojima and because Sony was backing it so much, and because I don't think I watched a single NFL game this year without seeing Death Stranding, you know, around that time. I thought because of all those factors, it was still going to sell a good amount, even if the vast majority of people who got the game didn't like it. Of people, you know, like non-critics.
Which, to be fair, as far as that goes, critics were a little more mixed. I mean, even the audiences. But as we're getting farther and farther, I'm seeing a lot more positive thoughts for it, like it being a top of Game of the Year list a lot. Yeah,
it's just like, I'm sure there were some Walking Dead fans or some random people that bought this game that didn't like it, but obviously something in that whole stew did not come out right, because it did not have that thing that we thought. Like, it had that initial hit, which almost just makes me think that was mostly the hardcore video game people buying it that first month.
Yeah.
And I don't think that those commercials and all of that, like, this game probably lost money because of all that.
Yeah, I gotta imagine, it's gotta be a disappointment from a sales perspective. Yeah, just because, like you said, all those commercials, just the way the game looks, you know, how big that budget is, those actors that they had to pay. God, big name actors. Kojima.
Which, I mean, I kind of respect it. It reminds me a lot of Blade Runner 2049, which is my favorite movie of all time. Hideo Kojima absolutely, like, Trojan horse, like, tricked Sony into giving him a bunch of money and spending a bunch of marketing dollars on his batshit insane art project.
Like Blade Runner, it may not work a second time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The Blade Runner director straight up said, I can't do this again. This was a one-time thing. I'm glad I did it, but I can never do this again. I'm never going to be able to convince the studio to do this again.
Just the craziest thing, because there are a lot of big releases on this thing. Like, okay, you can see on there, but then you see Ring Fit Adventure of all things at 20.
Yeah.
Obviously above Death Stranding.
Which, yeah, I mean, I think that's one of those that surprisingly took off, but, like, a lot of those, like, weird fitness peripherals can.
Well, and it's, just talk about Ring Fit for Adventure, which is pretty cool, is the reception of it as a game is very positive, which is nice.
So, what do you think the chances are that Sony is not part of Kojima Productions' next project, at least as a backer?
Pretty high, unless it is way down in scope.
Yeah.
Which I don't think Kojima would be.
I think he's going to want to ramp it up more, or at least just do a horizontal move. You know, it's going to be, I mean, I don't know. He could make a smaller but equally as crazy game, but I don't expect him to.
Honestly, as far as money goes, he can make a much ambitious game as far as the game side goes with the budget and stuff, but not have all those big actors and save lots on costs.
But is he going to want to do that? But, I mean, he might not be able to. He might just not have that money to get those actors now. This was, I think, Sony was a big part of making this happen. And, I mean, I could have walked into that business meeting and been like, all right, Sony, you were buying way too into this whole Hideo Kojima thing. Like, even if this thing was still charting here, I still would have thought, like, y'all obviously spent too much money on this. Y'all gave that man too much money. God bless you. God bless him for doing it. But, like, you gave him way too much.
And it is definitely not the game where I expected it not to sell well in America and then sell well enough to make up for it in other countries, in other territories. I don't think that's the case at all.
And he might just go start making movies. I don't know.
Yeah.
This might be the only game they make.
Yep. So, other than that, what I got from this is the big normal games sold, the yearly stuff sold. The Rockstar stuff. Nintendo did good this.
Is this one of those that if Sword and Shield were combined, it would be like number one, or what? Do you know how high it would be?
I'm gonna go with not number one, but it would
be up there.
I'd have to imagine it would definitely get above Luigi's Mansion. Though I'm very happy for Luigi's Mansion.
Yes, no, they have to be happy.
No, it's crazy. Like I said, NPD Sales on Twitter. Follow. He's giving some updates. It sounds like Luigi's Mansion might soon easily pass like 10 million.
Wow.
I think that's the number he threw out. If I'm wrong, I apologize, but I think I remember seeing that.
That's
which
crazy.
Is like Luigi's Mansion is a sales juggernaut right now, and it's just crazy.
That is wild.
Yeah. Which couldn't happen to a better game.
No, really good game. Wasn't that another like pretty much outsourced game by Nintendo? Like, wasn't it made by like a third-party studio?
So this is one of those things. I can't remember the exact studio name on top of my head. I think it's definitely a studio that works for them often, but it might be one of those that's not really owned by them.
I was just going to say, Fire Emblem and Luigi's Mansion were both primarily made by non-Nintendo people, and both of them sold very well. Did very well for them. So what I'm trying to say is Nintendo's washed and should give all their properties to everyone else. They're terrible.
Yeah, nerds. Okay. Top 20 for the year, Darby. Call of Duty, number 1. Who could have guessed? Who could have guessed for the umpteenth year in a row? NBA 2K20. Madden NFL 20 at number 3. 4, Borderlands 3. Wait, Borderlands wasn't even the top 20 of this. Weird.
Yeah, it was kind of...
Neither was Mortal Kombat at number 5. Number 6, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Number 7, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
You go Smash.
And number 8, Kingdom Hearts 3, baby. Let's go.
We made it. I'm still in. You can't take it away.
Number 9, Tom Clancy's The Division 2. 10, Mario Kart 8.
Oh, yeah, that game. And yeah, Mario Kart.
I mean, that's really surprising for a 3-year-old game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, that is the game you buy with your Switch.
Yeah. 11, Grand Theft Auto 5. 12, Red Dead Redemption 2. 13, Minecraft. 14, FIFA 20. 15, Anthem. Really, finally free fall.
Finally, yeah. It was in
the top 5 for a while.
Yeah, it was quite the fall.
16, Pokemon Sword. Number 17, Resident Evil 2 2019. 18, Luigi's Mansion 3. 19, Days Gone.
Yeah.
20, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe.
It's just going to keep selling. And it's just going to slowly...
Yeah.
We're not going to be paying attention to it, and suddenly it's going to be like one of the top-selling Switch games, because this is just how 2D Marios work. Yeah, obviously awesome that Kingdom Hearts was able to stick in that high. And I mean, spoilers, we'll see for the next thing we read. I am kind of pleasantly surprised and happy with how Red Dead Redemption 2 is actually kind of held on. Like, it definitely looked like kind of a disappointment compared to what, relative compared to what RDR2 could have done, but it's kind of hung on every NPD cycle and keeps selling and selling and selling.
Yep.
Yeah. And RE2, it makes it seem like it's really low, but I mean, this is top 20 of the year, and that's not as much.
There's a lot of juggernauts here.
Yeah, there's a lot of juggernaut and a lot of sports games and
Mortal
Kombats.
Adding Luigi's Mansion 3 into Days Gone, what you just said.
Yeah,
Days Gone is also kind of like
that could have gone very differently, and we all kind of predicted that.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us predicted it would be on this list.
I do wonder, though, if it was a little bit of a disappointment for Sony, because they have never said sales numbers for that game.
Yeah. If they were treating it like it was going to be Horizon, like a new IP, and Horizon sold 13 million units or something like that.
Something like that at this point.
If they were expecting that, which they might have, I mean, these are people in suits.
Yeah.
They don't know the difference between Days Gone and Horizon, really. They just know these are two new IPs, and especially Horizon probably made the expectations for Days Gone exponentially higher. Mm-hmm. And so, I could see that being a disappointment. But for us who are paying attention, and then especially we saw that kind of critic backlash, and then we just saw that not really matter, it just sold anyway, that was impressive.
Yep. Top 20 of the decade, Darby.
Get ready to get sad.
Number 1, Grand Theft Auto 5. Who could have guessed?
Wow.
Yeah. 2, Call of Duty. 3, Call of Duty. 4, Call of Duty.
Not even giving them the respect of their
Fine, I'll say their names. They might be interesting. 2, Call of Duty Black Ops. 3, Call of Duty's Black Ops 2. 4, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. 5, Call of Duty Black Ops 2. 6, Call of Duty Ghost. 7, Red Dead Redemption 2. 8, Call of Duty World War 2. 9, Call of Duty Black Ops 4. 10, Minecraft. 11, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. 12, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. 13, Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim. 14, Mario Kart 8. 15, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. 16, Battlefield 1. 17, Battlefield 4.
Just stop after you get done with the list.
Destiny at 18. Breath of the Wild at 19, Darby. And Star Wars Battlefront 2015.
Okay, you got done reading the list.
Yep. Breath of the Wild made the top 20, Darby.
Hey, and Red Dead Redemption 7th for the decade.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
1, 2, 3.
I mean, I know it's kind of silly to be worried about Red Dead
7,
Redemption
8,
2,
9,
but you know what I mean? Just in comparison to some of the other ones, I felt like I was worried it was dropping off a cliff. So many Call of
So,
Duties.
to the surprise of no one, every Call of Duty this decade made it on this list.
Yeah. It's a little sad.
Yeah.
It's a little sad. And it's really funny to see Minecraft 10th. GTA, Call of Duty, 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 Red Dead, Call of Duty, Minecraft.
A lot of these are kind of like, most of these are AAA shooters, and there's like Mario Kart.
Kind of surprised there's no sports game on any of these. But I guess they get replaced the next year by the next sports game. So I guess none of them stick around long enough to be.
Yeah, I mean, Call of Duty, you can argue that's the same thing, but I think they sell so much more than all those that makes up for the fact their legs get cut off.
And I think there's more of a reason to buy some of those other older Call of Duties than there is. Like, who in the world is going and buying Madden 13 or whatever,
Only if they don't want to pay $60 and want it cheap.
I guess that's fair. I guess there are people doing it, but yeah.
But
you're right. I mean, Call of Duty is top literally every single year, so that's enough to where, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. How about Breath of the Wild, though?
How about Breath of the Wild?
Feels good.
Feels good, Brent. Darby, ready to talk about some E3?
E3. Yeehaw.
Before we get into the convo, we got a very important news story.
Are the news beasts, how they feel about it?
They're sad. This comes from Christopher Dring from GameIndustry.biz. PlayStation will miss E3 for a second year in a row. The firm told GameIndustry.biz that it does not feel the vision for the event is right for what it has planned for this year. Instead, it will attend hundreds of consumer events to showcase upcoming games for PS4 and PS5. Quote, after thorough evaluation, Sony Interactive Entertainment has decided not to participate in E3 2020, said a Sony Interactive Entertainment spokesperson. We have great respect for the ESA as an organization. That is a lie. But we do not feel the vision of E3 2020 is the right venue for what we are focused on this year. We will build upon our global event strategy in 2020 by participating in hundreds of consumer events across the globe. Our focus is on making sure fans feel part of the PlayStation family and have access to play their favorite content. We have fantastic lineups of titles coming to PS4, and with the upcoming launch of PlayStation 5, we are truly looking forward to a year's celebration for our fans, end quote. And final thing, in an update later on, in response to the news, an ESA spokesperson said, E3 is a signature event celebrating the video game industry and showcasing the people, brands, and innovations, redefining entertainment loved by billions of people around the world. E3 2020 will be an exciting, high-energy show featuring new experiences, partners, exhibitor spaces, activations, and programming that will entertain new and veteran attendees alike. Exhibitor interest in our new activations is gaining the attention of brands that view E3 as a key opportunity to connect with video game fans worldwide. Oh yeah, Microsoft's going to be at E3 too.
After the word salad, can we just go ahead and agree hundreds of events just means a bunch of Best Buys with PS5s in them, right?
I can imagine that takes up a good chunk of that hundreds.
It's like that's 80 at least. then there's 10 Targets,
Yes.
5 GameStops, and then maybe five like fan events.
Yeah.
This is surprising, and it isn't.
It's like I think we were both at the point where like 50-50 for Sony being there because of the new console, but we both agreed that if Sony wasn't here, they're probably never coming back.
Yeah. That's what we both said. I mean, like, it really did feel like, I mean, because of their wording last year, like it wasn't just we're not doing E3, and like if they just said we're not doing E3, bye, it would have been like, okay, they don't have a lot to announce this year, they don't want to force it. But it wasn't that.
Last year made sense with the lineup and all that, or they at least used that as an excuse, which made sense.
But they kind of didn't though. I mean, they said they weren't coming to E3, and then Sean Layden bashed E3. I mean, Sean Layden on interviews, like it wasn't just we don't have the games to talk about. He's like, I don't agree with E3 and the direction it's heading, and E3 as a concept anymore. You know, it was, and because of that wording, it made it feel like the only thing that would be tying them to E3 this year was the PS5.
Oh yeah.
And the question was that enough? And did they feel like they could get by without it? And that's where it was kind of 50-50. And who knows? It might end up being a bad thing. I don't think it will be. I don't think the PS5 is going to suffer at all by not being at E3. I think they're going to have their own event. Media is going to get their hands on it anyway. I think it'll be fine. This is obviously, I do think, is a very big good thing for Microsoft, though.
Yeah.
The fact that as far as console and people getting their hands on the console, Microsoft is going to own the E3 press.
Yeah, I think that's, and we've talked about this when we were talking about the 2020 for both these companies. Why Sony did not be able to help Microsoft, like you said, is while people will definitely be going to whatever Sony event there is, like what we think will be the PlayStation experience next month, which we think is probably happening next month. Most video game outlets go to E3. That's just something that they all do.
Yeah, it's just established that that's not a new thing that we have to worry about. We've already made our travel plans. You know, it's like it's all.
They made their plans the moment it ended and the dates were officially announced. While people got to kind of scrounge together stuff for the PlayStation thing, and a bunch of outlets will do that, of course. But E3 is just kind of more of a known thing, even if it is.
And you can more justify, like, especially if you're either a smaller outlet or you're a big outlet, but games aren't your central thing, like Wired or any other ones like that. You might not be able to justify going out for just like one presentation for one console and that's it. And we had to fly all the way across the country. Whereas E3, it's like you're flying there for the console, but also all these games and
because at E3 will be Microsoft, but as well as Nintendo will be there and most of the third parties, who will also be showing off next gen games. Yeah, so in a weird way, like again, I don't think it really hurts Sony that much, but it's at least a good opportunity for Microsoft. I do think that the hundreds of events is a little bit of hyperbole, or like not. I think it's a little word salad, like fluffed up. Like I think it's not going to be as significant as it sounds, but I do think they're going to have a few key events. I think they're gonna be fine. Yeah. I think. I mean, I guess. Do you think like if they have this event in February, do you think that's about it as far as like media getting their hands on it, like in one big thing? Like obviously they'll send PS5s to them early, but I mean, it will probably be playable in some way at like stuff like PAX or something. Yeah, and there might even some be playable from third-party devs at E3. Just won't be Sony booths and all that doing the presentations. Could be. But yeah, as far as really big events, I don't know if there'll be one other than if they do that thing in February. Maybe one other one closer to launch. Maybe around closer to the end of summer or something around there. Maybe. Yeah. It could just be this event and then it's commercial time at some point. Yeah, it's just I struggle to think as far as like their own kind of like big event. I don't know if they would be able to justify or make it so it's justifiable necessarily for all these outlets to go to two of them. No. Yeah. Unless they're in different sides of the country, then Yeah. And obviously the one in California would be a lot of these will be like some fan events that is not a big media thing, but like PAX and some of these other Gamescom or something like that. Because even like stuff like Gamescom and all that kind of stuff, media people will still be out there. It just won't be all of them bunching together. Yeah, and not just the focused media attention. Everyone just kind of like it's video game day when it's E3. Like that is our Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. At least has been, but I mean. The kind of third pillar of this that we haven't really talked about is just like last year, this is bad for E3 and the ESA. Like, full stop. I mean, and like you said, the fact that they're not here in this year means Sony's never coming back. And the ESA and E3 has to wrestle with that. And I mean, it's been year after year. I still think E3 is important, but it's getting less important. And you see like media people talked about last year how like, holy shit, this place is empty in these last days and stuff. And it's like, this is not normally like this. Or like, there's certain people are just not there, or you just can't get these appointments, or it's just like, felt less relevant. And even Jason Schreier said that he might not go. There's a lot of people that are just talking about like not going. Well, to be fair, that might be partly because of his kid.
It might be, but I mean, he said he might not go because he feels like he could just do everything, see everything from afar. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you see a lot of people like sending kind of less people, and just I don't know. I mean, Sony is the biggest name in gaming. I think that's pretty much true as far as just like a company, like, you know, like they're the biggest console and they're the biggest play. Like they have the most people that play like at least console or PC games on PlayStation. For them to pretty much be saying we're never coming back. I mean, that's what this year does. That is, I don't know. I think E3 is going to have to change if it wants to stick around. And the ESA is going to have to like not leak thousands of people's credit card information. That might be it.
Nothing wrong with that. Everyone needs a little leak now and then.
It's healthy.
Yeah, it keeps you on your toes.
Yeah. So, like we said, kind of surprising, but also not completely. It's a little. It makes the whole PS5 launch interesting because it's unprecedented to not be there for a console because it's just been so important in the past. But it feels like if back in the PS3 generation they had said, yeah, we're releasing the PS4. Even when the PS4 is coming out, they're like, yeah, we're releasing the PS4 this year and we're skipping E3. It'd be like, you're what? You're doing what? But now it happens, and it's just like it's barely a news story. It's buried in this podcast. It's an hour and 40 minutes into this podcast because it doesn't. It's like, okay.
Part of the reason I did that because main topic type thing.
Yes, but I mean, objectively, this is not as big of a news story as it would have been in the past. You know, in the past, it would have been like, they're dead on a ride. Like, what in the world? They're not showing their content.
Actually, I think I remember kind of funny Games Daily. They had this under the delays that happened that day.
Yeah.
Well, then again, they have a PlayStation dedicated podcast, so I guess that. Yeah. Whatever. So yeah, this will definitely make E3 interesting as far as them not being there again. And again, last year, I think people, kind of go too far in saying of how Sony not being there affected last E3. Honestly, I don't think them not being there affected at least what we got that much. Because they didn't have they said themselves, they didn't have the games.
No, if they would have been there, it just would have been another kind of lackluster, mostly third-party conference.
Yeah, and this is the way I see it, and a lot of people would disagree with me. Like, they're like, Sony stuff makes E3 for me, and like, Sony only shows a couple of their own games each year.
Yeah, and they're really good.
And you miss that, and you miss out on another conference, but the games that would be at that conference are still going to be there. So we're not like we're missing on a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I mean...
and last year, I know people point, this wasn't a good year because of Sony. No, that's because we're in a transitional year. Yeah. And there was just much stuff from everyone in general.
That's what I don't completely get that mindset because like Sony didn't have the first party stuff to show. So if you take that into consideration, that they would have at most had like one or two like very like insignificant showings of games, and that would have been all they had for their first party. So if you think they have to flood that out with third party, if you're disappointed with Microsoft showing last year, you wouldn't have been any more impressed with Sony's because it's not like Microsoft struggles to get these deals. The E3 before that, we all hail as one of the best conferences of all time with Microsoft's. I mean, there's no reason that wouldn't have been the same case again this year if there were the games to show.
This year gonna be crazy.
Like, whether Sony was there or not, that E3, we didn't really realize it that much at the time. Like, we were still disappointed because we didn't have the full like scope of it. Looking back, last E3 was never gonna be a crazy standout one. It just wasn't. There just wasn't the
Sony being there wouldn't have changed really that much.
It would have just drug it out more. Like Sony would have been thrown into the disappointment pile. Sony actually kind of got to avoid that by skipping out and then just having little state of plays. It actually worked out for them.
Yeah. Going with the whole state of play thing is part of it makes sense to them not doing E3 is they've been laying the foundation for about a year now of their stated plays of, hey, this is the thing they do. And they've been steadily, in my opinion, getting kind of bigger with them.
Yeah.
Getting more
probably
bigger.
Started off a little too small, but now
the first one, was a little slow. Their big closer was a new Mortal Kombat trailer.
new. I mean, I remember most of the stuff we saw in the trailer was like...
I mean, it was new. And like, there was some stuff, a character announcement or two, whatever. But then the next one got like Final Fantasy VII. We got Last of Us and another one. It had only one big announcement. Last one had more announcements.
And now we're getting Ghost of Tsushima. Well... Yeah. But Resident Evil 3, I'm not counting Ghost of Tsushima. That was nothing, and that was for the Game Awards. But
yeah. I saw their opinion that if Game Awards didn't happen, that Ghost of Tsushima stuff just would have been in there.
It would have.
So I kind of tie that in, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But that had a lot more stuff.
But even without that, RE3 was
that had a lot more stuff in there, like a consistent thing throughout the show, in my opinion, especially for the time of year in December. So I think they're just going to get bigger. They're getting better at it. They're getting more stuff in there. And I feel like, there's some getting more buzz around it. So they're going to be more third parties that are like, hey, can you put this stuff in the thing? Kind of like we've seen with Nintendo Directs. So I think
it'll be interesting to see what third parties go to State of Play versus like Microsoft's, conference. I mean, it also is the time of year. I mean, Sony's going to have these all year long. But
I do think there is definitely going to be a State of Play before E3 by a week or two, kind of like there was last year.
Yeah, whenever that Final Fantasy one, that was like a month before.
Because for the same reason for Final Fantasy VII, because they wanted that announcement. They wanted the announcement, Final Fantasy is back. See more E3 and all that, but they wanted to have that.
That was so hype.
Next to their name, and I think they're gonna definitely want that with more games that are gonna be. They know they're gonna have E3, but they want their name attached to that stuff, even if they are gonna those games are gonna be at E3 or whatever.
I mean, they could announce Horizon 2 in that way and be like, everything you saw was running on a PS5.
So I think they're gonna do that. They're gonna try to steal a little thunder from Microsoft before E3 happens, even if it's just
they're definitely going to show something around that time, almost certainly before, but not too long before.
And I think we'll definitely get a State of Play around there because we need a Ghost of Tsushima date around that time if it's not delayed. And
which, I mean, God of War's date was announced in a tweet, wasn't it? Pretty much, it was like no trailer involved. It was just on a random.
That's fair, but I think now that they have this, they won't do that anymore. They won't necessarily do that anymore. As long as they have enough stuff to go around it, I think they will around that time. And timing wise, it makes sense because I think we're both kind of predicting Ghost of Tsushima for around August/September time.
That sounds about right, yeah.
And I think you're a May/early June State of Play, whatever date announcement makes sense timing wise.
Yeah.
So you definitely see that, and especially since for that, we'll say they do have the PS5 event next month. I can see Ghost of Tsushima not being there because it's a PS4 game, and they're going to want to be all about PS5. Maybe a little thing in there say, hey, our new game Ghost of Tsushima will be backwards compatible on there, whatever. Maybe with a little enhancements or something.
If a game is shown there, it's probably going to be some PS5 launch title. Like big, made for PS5.
I agree.
I wonder if Horizon 2 is being made and coming out for the PS5. I wonder if it will be completely exclusive PS5.
I think so.
I feel like if they're trying to use that to sell the console, it will be.
I think they will. Because I think Horizon had pretty decent legs. So even if it's not going to sell as much as Horizon did out the gate, just because less consoles are going to be out there, but it will still sell as things go on because Horizon, after one game, is that kind of IP that sells console and people
so
want
cool.
To.
I mean, God, Gorilla, what a story.
Yep. So Darby, how do you think E3 is going to change? We've been mainly focusing on Sony, but we originally wanted to just talk about E3 in general.
I mean, I'll tell you, Jeff, I'm not optimistic. Partially because you remember that whole thing last year when people had leaked. And I maybe I shouldn't say this, guy. I don't even 100% remember if this was true or not. But they leaked all the ESA's plans and meetings and stuff about E3 and about what to change at E3 and how to get E3. And they talked about celebrities and weird Twitch stuff and just things that no one freaking wants. It's ESA is a lobbying organization that kind of stumbled into having the biggest video game show on the planet, and I don't think that they're well equipped to keep that going. and also like I don't know if anyone is. I mean, I think E3 in general, the internet and just growing like Nintendo Directs and Sony State of Plays and just like more fan events and all this stuff, all of this is going to kill E3 slowly, regardless of who's holding it.
And I'm going to be, part of me is sad, but I'm not as sad about that thought as I was even maybe like a year or so.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Because State of Play is getting better. We're getting more of that stuff. I'm blanking on the name. The Xbox thing they do.
Inside Xbox.
Inside Xbox. That's obviously not like State of Play or Nintendo, even from an announcement standpoint. But I think if push comes to shove, they can make it that. They could easily make it that.
And that's what, like, I mean, and this is like, we should probably have this conversation another time, because I think we could go deep on this. About like what it, like I do think there is something missing. There's something inherently cool about like me, you, and Jacob, or me, you, Jacob, and Will all get together. Like we had a rotating cast here. It's like it's E3 time, and I remember that whole time. Like you were at work. It's like, oh, we gotta get off work and get back at like this conference or whatever. And I was here with Will, and then Will at home, and you came, and I caught you up on everything. It's cool. It's just inherently cool.
I'm definitely gonna miss that.
2 full days of just like nothing but announcements and everything. And it's just like really cool to have that all in one place, and there will be something missing not having that. But at the same time, you already see there's little elements of E3 happening all the time. There's a Nintendo Direct announced, and we're like, oh, we gotta get back. Like, oh, can you make it? I can't make it. I might be able to make it halfway through. You know, we're doing that. And we had like us freaking out at the Game Awards. We had us freaking out for Nintendo Directs. Like it happens. That video game hype will live on. I don't think that's going to die. I just think that this event that costs companies insane amounts of money and is just like kind of fading out of relevance, I think that will die. But as far as the E3 announcements, while it won't be as consolidated and quite as magic as it was, you know, I don't think it's...
A couple things that I think will definitely be missing, I will miss from E3, but they can easily be rectified, is some third-party stuff. Like the big three can easily do their own stuff to fill up their stuff. I'm not worried about them. It's some of the third parties that might get kind of, it might hit the hardest. Like stuff like Destroy All Humans and like the SpongeBob announcements. Stuff. I mean, they could announce this anytime, but I don't know. I feel like the hype around those kind of games in particular are kind of magnified because they're around E3. Oh, speaking of that Darby news thing, apparently SpongeBob's coming out May 24th. Let's go.
Nice.
But yeah, stuff like that. And also from Nintendo, we're still going to get directs. The E3 Direct is normally just a maybe slightly bigger Nintendo Direct. Yeah. Depending on what you're into.
Yeah.
The thing that I would miss the most from them is the Treehouse.
Yeah.
But they could always just decide to do that from their own locations.
Oh, and people would watch and we're like, we're just doing a Treehouse stream today. Let's go. Or like, we're doing a direct.
But it's one of those things that it would lose a little something just not being around the magic of it.
It's, just the all in one place and just the magic of that. But, I mean, and that is like, that is a good point to make with just the third parties, especially... and not that E3 is the perfect place for it, but there are some like indie games, some smaller games that people like. The Easy Allies are kind of funny. They get to play them, a game that like probably games that they never would have played otherwise, but they are making these appointments and they go and play this game. They end up loving it, and then we listen to their podcast for the rest of the year and they're talking about this game. And then when it comes out, they like actually play it. And if it wasn't for E3, a lot of those people probably just never would have played it, never would have heard of some of these games. And that's why, like, if E3 does go away, it kind of does fall on Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo to propel those indies. Yeah. And I think that they are all at varying degrees of doing it well. I think Nintendo is starting to pick up that mantle and propel indies probably better than anyone. Xbox is doing it pretty well too.
Xbox has been picking up it just with Game Pass.
Sony is abysmal. Yeah. Sony does nothing to promote indies.
I think they kind of want it. They kind of is like, we're carrying that towards the beginning generation.
Oh, in PS3 they were for sure.
And going into this generation, and then it just completely died when they became number one. It's like kind of like a we don't need you type thing.
Yeah.
As much as
there's a reason why there's a lot of these games. I'm thinking like, a lot of these cool indie games are on Game Pass, or it's like, I'm gonna play it on the Switch. It's just the perfect game. Like Shantae, I couldn't have met like I've got to play Shantae on my PS4. Are you kidding me?
You could buy it on your phone right now.
Peasant. Oh, that is too far in the peasantry.
Yeah. So there's some stuff that are definitely going to be missed with E3, other than the whole it all being in one place thing. But
I'm sure we even have a different tone right now than we did if you listened to our podcast like a year ago. We probably had a different tone, you know.
Yeah. But at least from an announcement standpoint, from the big three and the big publishers, is they've all, a lot of the big guns have come out with their own ways to give us this information in ways that are kind of similar to E3, where it's all kind of consolidated and we're getting these little things. I know people are going to miss the live conference stuff, and in some ways I enjoy those too, but honestly, I don't have a giant preference over the live conference compared to like a Nintendo Direct or whatever.
I feel it would freak out just the same,
Yeah.
It's the live element of it is kind of the crucial thing. That like, I want to keep that, because there's a lot of like movie trailers that just kind of drop and everyone goes and watches it or whatever, and that's cool. But I like the Nintendo Direct is happening at this time. We need to get together and watch.
No, the one we're saying keep that, because if they do that kind of because I think Sony and Nintendo, again, they're doing state of play Nintendo Direct, so they'll continue doing that. Xbox, I think, will do more inside Xbox types. Those have to boost up inside Xbox. Yeah. All that stuff to that, and those will always be live where they're showing trailers, because they want those reactions and that excitement, because that is and
it's kind of a unique video game thing, because like the element of surprise is not really there for movie trailers and stuff like that. That's not really a thing, and I mean it's not a totally great thing, because it also means that a lot of these developers have to like kind of work in secrecy and do all these other things, but it is something that I kind of love. I love despite its warts,
Well,
there's something just so great about us losing our minds to Joker throwing the speakers or whatever, easy allies of that Final Fantasy VII reveal.
Yeah,
there's something magical about that I really like.
Banjo.
Well, thank you guys so much. That was a really good one, really long one, but it was a really good one. What do you think about E3? What is it dead?
Remember when we talked about Byleth?
Yeah, that was a minute ago, wasn't it? All right, thank you guys so much. Peace.
Second us too.
Be gone, video game beasts. News beasts.